So hello, everyone. Greetings to the session, Mobility Moves Minds, together with Andrew Funk, Nico Herzberg, and Ralf Helbig. My name is Barbara Flücke, and we are talking today about the resilience project called Mobility Moves Minds. Why is it important? Because the initiative talks about our physical, digital, and the mental mobility that actually concerns not only individuals, but also organizations. So how do we foster our own resilience in times of the pandemic and beyond? And I set up this initiative together with individuals and organizations. And today we have three great people here to talk about the movement. So Andrew, would you like to continue?
Sure. My name is Andrew Funk. I'm the president of Homeless Entrepreneur, which is an NGO based out of Barcelona with local and global impact. And we help homeless people who want to be active working citizens have that opportunity. And we believe Mobility Moves Minds is important because it allows homeless people to reconnect to society, something as simple as basic transportation to go to job interviews, also to be able to relax and see the city and have the freedom to participate actively within their own city.
Thank you. Nico?
Yeah, hi, I'm Nico Herzberg. I'm from Campelion, and we create camper vans that adjust to the personal needs of the travelers so that they can use over a long period. For us, mobility is of course very important, and because we see traveling for inspiration, for new thoughts, etc. So that's why we think Mobility Move Minds is a very good match to us.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Ralf. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hello, Ralf. My name. I'm a managing director at Dedicon and Dedicon Switzerland, especially. And Dedicon Moves Mind is, I think, very important because you have to move your mind a lot, even in these times, to be resilient, because now we had the challenge because usually we are very mobile as consultants. So we are a consultancy company and going to clients. And now we had the issue that we couldn't go to the clients. So we had to move our minds and change our behavior and move now in a virtual world, which is quite difficult, but that's our home turf because we are digitizing and trying to bring to our clients, the digital world. So that was a very tricky situation for us. And I think Mobility Move Minds exactly supports this idea.
Thank you. That's also one of the reasons why I started with that initiative. Actually, it started many years ago while I was still working with a very large software organization, and I focused first on the logistics part, passenger and freight mobility. And then I think it was the beginning of last year where I said, okay, what does it mean when we look into our mental cognitive flexibility? And is everyone really eligible to that kind of mobility? So the physical one, the digital one, and the mental one. And this is how we got in contact with you, Andrew, from Digital Value Creators. That's my company here based out of Switzerland, where we look into transformation. So we look into the transformation of individuals, but also, of course, organizations. So from a product-oriented company to a service-oriented company. So Andrew, homelessness is something we all like to stop. And we say one of the key elements is to bring back work opportunities. So to reintegrate the homeless people into the society. So what is your take on the Mobility Moves Minds initiative when you look into these three facets? So the physical mobility you touched. What about the digital one and the cognitive mobility?
Well, like Ralph said, the cognitive part is extremely important, transforming minds to understand how to adapt to a current situation. So giving people the opportunity to have more mobility in a physical sense also gives them the opportunity to have more mobility in a cognitive sense as well. So the objective is really to get people to understand that mobility creates new opportunities for homeless people so they can become active working citizens. So Mobility Moves Minds for us is a very clear idea turned into a project that makes sense, that creates clear value for homeless people, because that possibility to move also moves their mind. So it's not just the physical sense, but it's also the cognitive sense, and brings them together. So that way they're no longer seen as homeless people, but seen as people, because that's what they are. So for us, Mobility Moves Minds gives organizations, be it public or private, and individuals the opportunity to be themselves. So when you have the ability to move from one place to another physically or cognitively, it helps you be more aligned with yourself, and there's a better representation of who you are and where you want to go.
Thank you. So that also leads over to what you are aiming for, Nico. You talked about the camper, like what we see in the background, where you say it is transforming based on the lifeline of let's say the user, right, the consumer of mobility. And it comes to the point that, of course, what you're aiming for touches also resilience. So how would you see that now also from a physical perspective, when we talk about camping and the freedom of going everywhere, and how do you see that in the, let's say, how families, young people can actually make use of that freedom? How would you bring that back to the resilience part?
So what we see is that mobility is changing day by day. Yeah, so we have all these trends from new work that the people, and especially strengthened by the by Corona, that the people are working at home, so they have a wish to go outside, to see new things, to broaden their view, etc. And that's what we observe, that they especially want to go on a very individual trip, on a very conscious trip, that they are willing to be with the nature in a very near way. And with that, they are getting stronger, and they are get more resilient from such a trip for their day-to-day business, so to say. And so that's what we would like to,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's what we like to bring to the people, so that they can really see their values which they have and which they live, that they can assume that also with their products they're using.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption, but this topic actually is fascinating me so much, because when I talk to the individuals, also the interviews we are doing for the book, right? It's really about everyone has his or her own story, but there's also a story behind on the organizational setup. And we see that in the pandemic. So organizations that help homeless people are also faced with their own struggles and how to cope with that. And we see that also what we have been discussing, Ralph, on the resilience model we are currently setting up. So how to make organizations more resilient. So can you share your thoughts and our current work in process about the resilience model?
Yeah, I think to be resilient as an organization comprises a lot of preconditions the organizations have to fulfill. So one is, of course, the people that are working in the organization have to be very open-minded and flexible. So they need to be open for new situations and to cope with new situations, and to react on those and find quickly solutions on those. And this is a type of organization which you cannot gain if you have strong hierarchical structures. If all people are always looking for some commands and then executing commands, it's more the type of people that know exactly where they want to move to, where they want to be in future, and then understanding it and then translating it into their own action, into their own situation. If they can understand these kind of kind of connections and relations between cause and effects, and then can act according to their situation they are put into, then those organizations are ready to act in a very resilient way. They can cope with all kind of new situations and factors that might arise suddenly somewhere from somewhere. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so that kind of flexibility, so it's like this versatility. So what you, Nico, aiming for with the Campelion vehicle and the adjustments, and on the other hand, the cognitive flexibility we all, I think, can gain even better to reintegrate homeless people back into the society and into our work environments. And that's what we're aiming for with the book, right? So I would like to thank you very much, Andrew, for sharing your perspective on homeless entrepreneur and being a collaboration partner here with MobilityMovesMinds. Nico Herzberg, greetings to Germany and to Dresden. And we like to see the bus rolling, coming to Barcelona and to Switzerland as well, and meeting Ralph in Zurich.
Welcome.
And myself here at Lake Constance. And thanks a lot. Thank you.